Hello everyone, good evening and a very warm welcome to the Facebook viewers and Apla Paryavaran YouTube channel. So today is our 60th webinar of the webinar series which we had started in August 2020, and it's been 60 weeks of the webinars which we have been conducting every Saturday 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. So before commencing towards the session, I would like to introduce you all to Purnam and its activities. So Purnam is a non-profit organization working in environment and waste management since 8 years now. And the activities which we carry out in under the organization are e-waste and plastic waste management, green consultancy, under which comes composting, rainwater harvesting and biogas, and fabric upcycling. So along with this, awareness comes hand in hand. So we have been awareing people about the activities which we have been carrying out, and one such session is we are having today, which is on reviving urban rivers through people's participation. Today is part 2 of this session, and part 1 has been already posted on the Facebook channel of Purnam Ecovision's Facebook page. So you can watch it. It was posted on 20th August. So you can watch it live on Facebook. Secondly, today, as many of you must have been familiar with Shailaja ma'am, but for those who are new, I would just briefly introduce her to you all. Shailaja Deshpande ma'am is founder and director of Jeevit Nadi, that is Living River Foundation. She has graduated from SNDT University in Child Psychology in 1978. She has worked as primary school teacher at Vashi in Navi Mumbai in 1984 to 1986. And she has been a proprietor of her own business in designing interiors, running successfully for 15 years from 1994 to 2009. She has completed projects like McDonald's, Domino's Pizza, Bangalore and in Mumbai, Bangalore and Chennai. So she has various uh, she has done diploma in the field of botany in 2011 and 12. In 2016, she has done a course in groundwater and watershed management by ACWADM. She decided to pursue her own interest by winding up her running business, and she urged to do something for the environment. From 2014 onwards, she has been working on revival of the rivers. So she is an active member of the group and practicing toxin-free lifestyle in her own house since the last 7 years. So this is why we have her today. And let us now start with the session. All the viewers can interact with our speaker also. So if you want to share your views or if you have any questions, you can post it under the video in the comment section. So handing over to you, ma'am. Welcome to the Facebook channel, and please let us start with the session.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Tanvi, and thank you very much, Purnam Ecovision, for giving this opportunity. Just give me a moment to allow me to share the screen, and I'll just try to show you a few two film clips, which I would be speaking about in my later on presentation. So just have a look at it.
కోల్గేట్ మ్యాక్స్ ఫ్రెష్ లో ఉన్నాయి వినూత్నమైన కూలింగ్ క్రిస్టల్స్. అయితే స్విచ్ ఆన్ చేయండి తాజాదనాన్ని ఇచ్చే పవర్ ని.
So this is one clip which I showed you, on which I have left you to think over, brood over why I have shown this film to you. Though it is in a different language, which many of us may not understand, but you may have definitely understood what it is about, what was the product. And this person who's there on the screen probably is one of the mm, favorite heroes in South Indian films. And I am again going to show you another clip, which is again for you people to think over.
Have any control over, and they don't inhibit those. One of those is the norovirus. Now, if your hand sanitizer doesn't contain alcohol, then it's likely to contain triclosan, which is a powerful antibacterial agent and often used in making pesticides. It is readily absorbed by the skin, which can directly impact thyroid function and can cause damage to the liver and muscles. Another thing, have you ever thought, a lot of us, especially now, immediately reach out for a hand sanitizer, use it, and then start eating something. Have you thought the kind of chemicals that you're consuming? Well, there are a lot of chemicals in hand sanitizers, and frequently consuming hand sanitizers because you don't wash your hands, you use a hand sanitizer instead, and then you use your hands to eat food. You're ingesting the hand sanitizer. Well, it can be very harmful for your immunity, counterproductive, especially for very young children. If kids constantly consume this product, then first it can lead to alcohol poisoning, and secondly, it can lower their immunity to such a level that the body's defense mechanism is in a constant fighting mode, which leads to weakened immunity. This can cause serious side effects when they grow older as well. These adults have a weak immune system and will be more vulnerable to diseases. Moreover, if your hand sanitizer is scented, that means it's loaded with toxins and chemicals. Synthetic fragrances contain phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors that mimic hormone and could alter genital development. So hand sanitizers don't just have these medical risks, but also certain physical impact as well if you use them. As we told you, that sanitizers contain alcohol, which make it highly flammable. So if putting alcohol on your hands, you go near any fire, it can cause some serious burns. One such incident had happened in Rewari, where a person had suffered 35% burns because he was in close proximity to a kitchen stove while using hand sanitizer on his clothes. There is a video that is circulating that seems.
I'm going to end this film here, and I will now get on with my presentation. While, as I said, that I'm going to leave this both the films, for which we will be discussing a few things during our today's session. And Tanvi, just let me know if the screen is viewable and you are able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah, great. So we move on to the second part of our river revival through scientific approach and people participation. And today, the films which I showed you are going to be part and parcel of my presentation, because initial in first session we went through what exactly the ecosystem is about, how due to our various impacts through encroachments or through pollution or through extraction, dumping, solid waste, and all those things, how we are actually making our rivers die, and what could be way forward through community participation, through different approaches, so on and so forth. So whatever we discussed is not going to be discussed here, but there will be two common slides which I showed you in the earlier presentation, but it will have a relevance. So don't worry about it. But here I'm going to make a statement that rivers are reflection of the people staying near her. If you see on your left-hand side, it's Umgat River in Meghalaya, and a lot of people might have seen the WhatsApp film which was getting viral, where you can see the reflection of the boat below into the water. And this is on your right hand side is our Mutha River near the causeway of Omkareshwar. So the way the river gets treated, that is the reflection. So I don't need to give you more proof that how we are reflecting in our own rivers. So today, basically, we are going to talk about majorly about water pollution, and that too through liquid or the toxic waste which is entering into the water. Now, when we are talking about we, today I am not going to focus anything about the air pollution or pollution through food or food containers or vehicular pollution. Today I'm going to speak about only about the water which enters our own homes. I'm not going to be talking about rivers in exactly in that term, but the water which is coming to our homes and the water which is getting out of our homes, and how through this we are polluting the rivers. And that simply means, if we are the reasons, if at the end of the session, if you agree with me whatever I am stating, that if we are the reasons, then that is something which we can do about that, how we can clean our rivers right sitting in our own homes. So this presentation is going to be a focus, no matter whether you're old or young, or you're in a corporate sector where you don't have time to go to the river. Even if you have deep in your heart that you wish to do something about the river, these are the few solutions which you will look into it. Now, this is the common slide which I showed you even at the last session also. But here I have inserted one line in the top which says our health and health of the river is connected and interdependent. So if the river is good, the people are going to be healthy. If the river is bad, people may not be that healthy as it sounds, because they both are interconnected and interdependent on each other. How it is going to be? Well, let's see how. So let's start from the source region, where the source region, the river originates, and from there the water enters into our own homes. But we all know how does it enter, because it gets stored into the dams, where the first impact we do, which is a very natural thing for a river. The river must flow and river must flood. These two things we learnt in the last session. But with dams, we 100% stop the flow. And while stopping the flow, what are we doing? We are having environmental losses into the catchment areas. Habitat biodiversity is losing fast. The soil layer is going, deforestation is happening. Lot of sediments are entering into the dam part. Then when the water gets released from the dams, there is a flood risk. And of course, we are currently in last 2-3 months, we are repeatedly getting news from Khadakwasla Dam about the declining water quality of our rivers or of our storage dams. So leaving that aside, how the contamination is happening at the source, let's try to start from the water filtration plants, or which are called as water treatment plants, where from the dam the water goes into those treatment plants, and then through the pipelines it enters our own homes. So what does happen in water treatment plants? I'm just going to not elaborately talking about what is the function of water treatment plant, but we will be just focusing on the red circle which I have put here, which is the chemical coagulant which get added for killing the microbial content into the water or any other pollutants which are there in the water, and to use that. So what are those chemical contents by which we are creating the pollution, and how we are hampering our health also? So what are those chemical substances which are used for filtration or to purify the water? One is lime. So lime is always extracted from mining. So we are causing mine pollution. Then there is the alum, for which the bauxite mining happens. We all know bauxite mining, illegal, legal mining, which is happening in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and one of our pristine forest of Western Ghats and even into the Narmada Valley also, and how that is actually creating a lot of pollution. So for our own necessity, or for our own demands, we are actually creating some environmental pollution at some other source which we are not aware about. We have not learned this through any school curriculum or college curriculum, how we are impacting through our whatever things we are doing. So alum and chlorine, these, how the chlorine is a big industry which actually, because of mercury cells. Now mercury, how harmful it is, we all know. So the formation or the creation of chlorine itself is a polluted thing, and all these things also impact us. The lime has a direct impact on us, for your eyes irritation, skin issues. All this is caused by lime. Alum has aluminum in it. Aluminum simply means aluminum is directly linked to our nervous system. So increasing in dementias, Alzheimer's, and these sort of, nervous system diseases, there could be a major cause because of the alum, because we are not taking alum just for a day, single day. This has been there right from we are born in Pune city, and we have been drinking this water, or not exactly in Pune city, but in any urban area where the filtration happens due to chlorination. These are the substances which get added. And chlorine. Chlorination of water produces 4 to 5 types of trihalomethanes. We are carcinogenic. Which are carcinogenic? It has been proven. You can Google anywhere about impacts or effects of chlorination on human health. You will find this. You will also find that there is an increasing thyroid. So no wonder if the thyroid suffering women are increasing in urban cities. Many urban cities, a lot of women suffer from thyroids after a particular age. So here I'm now talking and comparing how we are impacting the environment and how we are also having our health getting degraded. Now, the types of water which we use in our homes, obviously the major part is the municipal water, which we have seen how it gets filtered and reaches our home. But sometimes, many a times, the municipal water is not sufficient. So we have borewell water, or we get it from tanker. Then in big townships or the localities, we have the treated at site, means the hard water gets soft, gets converted into soft water and used. Then there is a reclaimed water which is being used for flushing your toilets or watering your gardens. And many societies, out of the consciousness or awareness, they are also harvesting the rainwater. But are we aware that there are some sort of a color coding for the health and hygiene of people which we are not aware about? So potable water will always have this green piping system. The light yellow or orange color which is shown here, caution, not potable water, do not drink. Then the third, which is a purple color, reclaimed water, do not drink. And then there is a danger sign, reclaimed water, do not drink. And that's why a lot of people don't even know that usually the reclaimed water should not be used into residential societies, because there are seniors and children moving around into the landscape gardens, and there may be sprinklers around which actually the children while playing could take it into their mouths, or the senior citizens may gulp it accidentally. So these things, the reclaimed water usually should be used into the corporate sector or institutional buildings where such accidents are unlikely to happen. We are not aware about all these things because, as I said, it is not taught in any college curriculum, nor any schools, or nor we know about it. So now once the water enters in our own homes, how does the water get out? In urban areas, usually 135 liters per person is the quota which any corporation provides. In rural areas, it is hardly 75 liters. Many a times it's 50 liters, and during the dry season, probably 15 to 20 liters, which the rural area gets water. So how do we consume this water for drinking, cooking? Leave aside the leakages in our own homes, dripping water from our leaking taps or flush tanks, or your shower faucets or things like that. I'm not talking about leakages. Then the black water, which goes through our toilets when we flush for urinals or for any type of our necessities. Then in kitchen and dishwasher, this is considered as black water because it's a part of all natural activities which are happening because we are also part of our nature. So urinating or doing these daily chores is part of the nature, which we do it every day. We eat. So whatever we eat, the food also comes from the nature. So that is considered as black water because black water will have majorly a microbial content into that water. And that is very easy to treat. And what is the gray water? The gray water which comes out is from bath, wash basin, washing machines, and all sort of things, floor cleaning, car washing, all the things which include our domestic cleaning purposes will have a gray water, which is 90 liters. So just see, for our necessity, we require only 15 liters. Rest of the water is created as a wastewater. So what happens to this wastewater? Last time also I had shown this slide. Now you will be able to relate. Now this is exclusively about the gray water which I'm talking about. Now here there is no black water which is considered. So 90 liters of our water has all those chemicals which are here, which have totaled out as 20 to 40 grams of chemicals, but number of chemicals or number of ingredient in each of these products is about 5 to 7 type of different ingredients which are used, and the total of all the things which we consume during the day comes to 125 types of different types of chemicals. Then after that, this water goes towards the sewage treatment plants. Now, this sewage treatment plants, as I said, because the gray water gets mixed up with the black water, the separation of the solid and the water happens into the sewage treatment plants. But when lot of gray water starts entering into the sewage treatment plants, it requires 8 to 10 hours of retention time to treat this water. Many a times there is a electrical supply shortage to those plants. Then only the biodegradables are digested by the primary and secondary type of a treatment. But the non-biodegradable, which we are talking about, the chemical part of it, they cannot be treated, and the sludge dumped. Previously, the PMC corporation actually used to sell this sludge because it used to be used as a good manure with the farmers. Now, since so much of chemical load has been increased into this, no farmer is ready to buy this sludge. So when it gets out of our homes, obviously, as I said, till it reaches the sewage treatment plants, it is partially treated, or many times it is not treated. During the monsoon time, the sewage treatment plant do not get sufficient retention time because the water, storm water drains is also entering into the sewage treatment plants. due to which 100% untreated water enters our rivers. So this goes into the rivers and further into the oceans. So water pollution from our homes goes into the rivers. Then agricultural fields also have some more type of pollution. This is in fact impacting human health, and all this water finally when enters into the oceans. If you think about the ocean coastal region cities, it could be Madras, Goa, Mumbai, and many other, they are releasing their sewage water directly into the seas and oceans, where we are very commonly talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which everybody knows. Since you are connected with Purnam, I'm sure you people are aware about the Pacific Patch. But what about the toxic pollution which has been released into the oceans and seas through our domestic usage or through industry or through agriculture? Then when talking about the cities, are we really healthy? What are the common issues we face? Acidity has become a perennial problem. We have thyroids, we have digestion problem. Young people have graying of hair. Means I remember I started graying my hair at a normal age of 55 years. I never had any problem, and when I started having a gray hair, I didn't do anything. I never had to do anything to have use any colored dyes or any sort of artificial means. But here when we see now the school children start having a gray hair, there is some reason behind it. The skin allergies, go to any dermatologist, you will see a rows of young people sitting there with the skin allergies. There are eyes related issues, many things. Obesity has become one of the major issues. Then there are mental stresses, sleeplessness, autism, and the severe types which are increasing. As I said, when I was little, cancer used to be such a horrifying thing. गांव में एक को किसी को कैंसर हुआ तो पूरे गांव में वो न्यूज़ फैल जाती थी, अरे उसको कैंसर हुआ. It used to be such a rare. Even infertility issues were so rare. Now look at, we have like grocery shops, we have fertility centers. Try to think, where have we traveled so far? What exactly are we doing with ourselves and with our environment as a whole? And that needs to be thought very, very seriously. And currently what we are having, whether it is commonly known, some have asymptomatic, so corona comes and goes, many people don't even realize that they suffered from corona. Few people have severe attacks. Lot of us have lost our near and dear ones during last two stages of corona. I don't need to go into those details because everybody has gone through this phase, so no need to discuss on that. And then the most important hygienic products which we require for our personal hygiene and our domestic cleaning, how do we purchase them? If I have to go for a party, I go out of my way, spend my 4 to 5 years in some mall or some branded shop where I try out, I do a lot of combinations, look at the cost, look at the texture, look at the combination, look at the fashion, the dress or the costume which I'm going to wear maybe once, twice, or thrice a year. I spend more than 4 to 5 times of the amount of time of a day. Whereas the personal hygiene which I really need every day, how do I purchase that? Most of the time by habit, ease of use, which has been happening, or the advertisement which I showed you. Look at 2 clips which I showed you. The one clip was hardly not even for 1 minute, which was not even in a language which you would understand, but you could understand what the advertisement was about. And the second clip was more than 3 minutes, which I did not run the whole clip as such, but I just sent you a message. But still, it took 2 minutes for that lady to explain the impacts and effects of sanitizer. That is the difference. That is the difference. The most necessary things which we are using, we are not looking at it properly. So, price means these are the things which I just mentioned, which we already discussed. And obviously, for dental hygiene, one is not enough. Now, with Corona, we need some sort of a, mouthwash also. There is a floss because we want the teeth not to have any decaying thing. Then for brushing, we will need toothpaste, then toothbrush, and lot of things. So this list could be really unending if we really have to, go into it. And Amazon is really on our fingertips and on our handset. You just have to type whatever you need, and it gets delivered into our own place without bothering. So this is something which is there. And these are very hard hitting facts. The chemicals, nearly 80,000 chemicals on the market are unregulated in the whole world. It's not just in our own country, but in the whole world. About 10,500 different chemicals in personal care products actually we utilize on day-to-day basis. But out of which only 13% of those ingredients through personal care products have been tested, which are safe. So 13% of ingredients, and out of that, safety tested so far means which are safe and unsafe. So out of these 13%, there could be a few which are unsafe and there are few which are safe. So look at the percentage, how much of chemicals we are using and how much we are unaware about it. And mostly because they are used in our own homes. Who are the maximum sufferers? The housewives who stay throughout the day in their own homes, the senior citizens who are again homebound, and the small children which are there. And they all get exposed to those chemicals because they are in the confinement of our own four walls. So what is any conventional toothpaste which has what type of ingredients? Let's try to at least try to understand, because you have never seen or never read the instructions nor the ingredients. After this session, if you take out a time, 2 minutes of your time, and try to read the ingredients and try to read the instructions and what it means, I feel that my session, today's session, is useful in that sense. So ingredients, I'm just spelling it out. There are silica, polyethylene glycol, potassium nitrate, sodium lauryl sulfate, tetrasodium pyrophosphate. Now, I'm not a person who has learned chemistry. How do I know anything about it? So let's forget about the ingredients. Let's see the instructions. Have we read the instructions anytime at all? Thoroughly twice a day or as instructed by dentist or a physician. Now the person, if it is for my dental hygiene, do I really need to have instructions from the dentist or a physician? Under 12, use only on advice by the doctor. Sensitive teeth may indicate underlying problem that may need prompt care. See your dentist if the problem persists. Do not swallow. Have we ever read all these instructions? Forget about the ingredients. Now, let us try to come to the ingredients. Even if I don't know chemistry, I know silica means sand. If I'm brushing sand on my teeth, isn't it going to harm my enamel? It's a very logical or common sense question which I'm just putting into your mind. Then sodium fluoride. If you Google The sodium fluoride shows rat poison. Now imagine a rat poison. For a rat, if you use with the concentrated form, it may get killed because the rat poison is used to kill the rats. If it gets killed and it's a poison, we are also part of this nature, this environment. So whatever is bad for the rat, at least some percentage could be bad for us. We need to understand this common sense. And if I am using right from I'm 5 years old till whatever I get old, or till I get the dentures, or till that age, I am taking this rat poison slowly, day in and day out, every day. Polyethylene glycol, it's carcinogenic, it creates respiratory and cardiac damages. Sodium lauryl sulfate, it gets retained into the body, it damages eyes. So stomach related issues, kidney stones, urine stones, this, that, all digestive problems, because it remains into your body for a while. Indigestions, it also impacts your nervous system. Parabens and preservatives, they are endocrine disruptors. No wonder we are having problems like infertility. No wonder we are having issues like obesity. No wonder we are having so many other problems into our own urban areas, and doctors say that it's a change in the lifestyle. What exactly this change in the lifestyle is costing us? We have never rather tried to think about it. Now, these ingredients, if I tell you to have a look to your shampoos, to your conditioners, to your bath soaps, to your liquid soaps, most of these ingredients will be again there, because they give the same results. They are doing the same work for you. So how many products you are using and how many things you are actually taking into your body, and how it is harming the environmental health, because it is coming from non-point source. I am using a brand, my neighbor uses a different brand, my person staying upstairs uses some other third brand. We don't know how much amount we are using, and all this is entering our wastewater, which cannot be treated into STPs. It enters our riverine ecosystems and also pollute our soils, because downstream are our floodplains on which our food gets irrigated. So obviously the toxins which are releasing, it cannot go anywhere, because nature does not know how to treat these chemicals, since they are totally man-made chemicals. Now, any conventional floor cleaner, there is a top line which reads about it: kills all germs dead. Why do we need, when it is mentioning that it kills all germs dead, that simply means it has also must be impacting in some way or the other to our own home environment also. We have small babies in our own house where they have a reduced immunity. We have senior citizens. So are they also getting impacted? We have never tried to find it out. Now, sodium hypochlorite, I have underlined it because this has been used extensively currently during Corona for disinfecting the public areas, gardens, your institutional buildings. Anywhere you go, people are crazily spraying this sodium hypochlorite, which actually enters into the bodies, which there are surfactants, we all know. Then sodium hydroxide. I think the instructions which are there on the floor cleaner: keep away from children. If swallowed, drink water or milk. Avoid contact with eyes and skin. In case of accidents, rinse and call doctor. Show label or container to the doctor. Store and keep it in dry place in the same container and keep it upright and cool. Use diluted on kadapa, kota and cement surfaces. Do not mix with acid. There is a big sign which is marked in the red square. Do not use it with detergents. Now, if there are so many instructions, is it worth to use this liquid as a floor cleaner when I have so many people whom I'm taking care? I am worried about their food, I'm worried about their health, and I'm using this floor cleaner. Instead, will it not be useful if I just wipe it with simple water? Why do I need such a strong floor cleaner is my question, which I'm putting into your minds. So what are these ingredients are causing us? I already told you about sodium hypochlorite, which is directly linked with cancers. Surfactants are the skin and eye irritants. Sodium hydroxide is harmful, it is corrosive, it is carcinogenic. Perfumes have been proven carcinogenic. And environmental health, as you all know, that since it is coming from any non-point source and cannot get biodegraded in the nature, it will remain and stay in the environment forever. Mineral oils, I have particularly added this because if there are families or women who are watching, please henceforth, please do not give any gift hampers which are ready-made with the baby oils, baby products of any brand. I am not going to be saying anything about the brand, but mineral oils in any branded products are really, they are like crude oil in simplest term. They will clog the pores of the skin of the babies. It will create intestinal disorders. Vitamin deficiencies in the infants will start increasing, and the dryness of skin. Then there are many other ingredients which actually commonly touch us through different things which we use. It could be the polish on our wooden surfaces, or the curtains which we are using, or the PVC mats which we have into our own homes, or the shower curtains. It could be into any form. All these products are actually in our homes, which are directly touching our health. And another attack on rivers and humans is obviously the corona, for which you watched that film on the hand sanitizer. And what exactly the sanitizers are doing, what type of ingredients are there. There are the phenolic and alcohol compounds which in water form nitrates, nitrites. And nitrates and nitrites actually in turn are the food for the water hyacinth which grows in the water. So this year we actually experienced exponential growth of water hyacinth on our rivers, simply because there was so much amount of disinfectants entering into the water, sanitizers, soaps, everything which was releasing nitrates, nitrites, dissolved ammonia. And all this are very, very toxic to the aquatic life. And obviously they are harmful to our rivers. So if we have to stop this vicious cycle, we have to create a virtuous cycle by a simple logic: consume to conserve. We need to take care of ourselves. We need food for our health. We need many things for the things. But can we think, is this going to impact the environment, or can I have it and also be useful to the environment, which will safeguard the river ecology? Which are such products? They are the natural and biodegradable products, which will also safeguard our personal health and safeguard our river ecosystems. So what are they? Do we know? Here we come then today's session, which I specially asked or requested Tanvi to have the second session, that those people who cannot go on the river or do anything about it, sitting at home, can we take a challenge of cleaning our rivers 60 to 70% from our own homes by just having some lifestyle changes? And what are these lifestyle changes? Creating alternatives to our day-to-day products, various products, which are most of them actually have been tried and tested from our ancestors from thousands of years ago. Our Ayurveda has been, it's not a branch of a medicine, but it's a way of life. Ayurveda works more on the preventive measures than the curative ones. Usually the clinical side, and I'm not saying that we should not be taking medicines. When you are serious, obviously you have to go to the medicinal branch, which has created lot of, I would say, discoveries and treatments which are really making people's lives easier. But preventive measures should be the first thing which we need to work on that. And these are the ones which I'm going to quickly go through, which are half of them are in our kitchens. White vinegar is exactly like everything about cleaning can be done with white vinegar, which is used in your Chinese preparations. White vinegar is absolutely natural product which gets created from acetic acid. Now, acetic acid is formed when you are making ketchup from tomato, acetic acid gets formed. When you are having sugar from sugarcane, acetic acid gets created. When you are having wine, manufacturing wine from the grapes, acetic acid gets created. So the concentrated acetic acid, if you dilute, it creates white vinegar. And that is absolutely, the scientists have found, this is a boon to our actually day-to-day life, which is very, very useful in all ways. Baking soda is another thing which we have into our kitchens. Then essential oils, Nilgiri oil to sabke paas hota hai. You can have tea tree and citronella oil into your medical stores, which are there. Camphor, which you buy from your Ayurvedic shop, are also natural. बाकी कुछ भी नहीं, घर में लेमन तो होता है ना, drop of lemon into your bucket, with which you clean is good enough. पुदीना, lemongrass जो घर के kitchen garden में होता है, you can use n number of combinations and permutations. If you go on the Google, you will find lot of such alternatives which are absolutely handy in your kitchen gardens, in your gardens, or just around. So as I said, baking soda and white vinegar are excellent cleaners. Then for polishing wood polishes, instead of formaldehyde, we can have linseed and or other natural oils as wood polishes. Lime juice is very much useful. Cornstarch is very good for the windows. Many people use cut potato to clean windows. A lot of such things have come up when we have started taking sessions. I wasn't knowing so many options were available. Then for disinfecting, the best thing to use is a hydrogen peroxide. In any medical shop, you get 6% hydrogen peroxide. Bring it home, add an equal amount of water to make it 3%, and it will be useful for your disinfecting any surface into your own house. By biodegrading, it will create hydrogen and oxygen, which is equally useful into the environment. For personal hygiene, obviously the dental care, any type of dental care, body care, and hair care, which has soap nuts, that is Rita and Shikakai. You can have orange peels for the hair care, amla. For dental care, I have written into first column because our mouth is it has an absorption capacity of 90%. And that's why अपने दादा दादी नाना नानी हमेशा बोलते थे कि 32 times you must eat you must have चबाना, 32 बार चबाना, तो डाइजेशन इजी हो जाएगा. तो पेट में डाइजेशन होने के पहले 90% food gets digested into your mouth. That simply means it gets absorbed with the juices, the saliva which secretes into your mouth. So if the saliva is getting secreted, if I'm putting in the type of chemicals which we discussed earlier, aren't they going to be toxic? Because saliva is going to do its own job by absorbing the same chemicals which are there. It cannot differentiate between the food and the toothpaste. So that the function of the mouth is going to be same. The function of the body is going to be same, because our skin is porous. It shades throughout the day. So the easiest thing is using some sort of a scrubber which will peel off the dead skin on our body and which will also clean. So cleansing milk is equally good. Why do we need soap? If we have to have any scrubber, any type of, और घर का बेसन और दूध जो छोटे बच्चों के लिए भी यूज करते हैं, वो बड़ों के लिए क्यों नहीं? और उपटन, which we use it in Diwali, it will have all medicinal herbs. It will actually work great on your bodies without having, whatever soaps and chemicals which you use. After using soap, everyone has to have then moisturizer because the skin becomes dry. Everyone knows about it, but still we don't talk about it. But I don't have to use anything, because if I use Uttin, the medical herbs have already acted on my skin, whatever the type of skin is. So blending all these, and they are absolutely natural and biodegradable, which will also help the environment in the long run. For shaving cream, actually you don't need to use any cream at all. If you have bath before shaving, your hair is already softened, and then you just use the razor. That takes care of it. If you want to see, please, all men watching this, do watch Rajiv Dikshit's YouTube film on the how many alternatives are there for the shaving if you have to stop your cream. So these are the things which I am just trying to give you some sort of a, what would I say, that I'm trying to increase your thinking and how you could start choosing and become a conscious buyer whenever you are buying any product blindly. Instead of that, if you start looking at the ingredients and what it contains, I think that also will be good enough to make the change in your lifestyle. So increase immunity, or for the corona part, I already discussed about hydrogen peroxide. I have already discussed about the vinegar, how one could use the vinegar. You can go on the Google and see immense ways how one can use vinegar and baking soda. Cleaning your toilets, cleaning your bathrooms, cleaning your all kitchen utensils, crockeries and things like that. Then I have mentioned here a calendula cream. This is a homeopathic cream. You don't need to use sanitizer. I have not used any sanitizer unless and until it was made compulsory for entering any institutional building for a meeting or something. Usually, I always carry this calendula cream into my purse before starting from my own home. If I have washed my hands with made from my biodegradable soap from my Rita soap nuts, I wash the hands and apply the calendula cream. The effect of calendula cream remains on my hands more than 4 to 5 hours, for which I do not need to use any hand sanitizer every now and then, like a frenzy or like a crazy person. And I can have a vinegar in a small bottle. I usually carry it, and the eucalyptus oil. You can sniff vinegar, which will create antibacterial and antiviral immune. Your system gets immunity boosted with those things. You can put it on your handkerchief or on your own mask. 2 drops of eucalyptus oil and put the mask on. You don't need many things to protect yourself. And for putting it in the mouth, equal amount of saunf and ajwain will give you sufficient immunity when you get out. You can put this into your own mouth after finishing whatever your chores. You can just eat it out. It's good for your health also. So all these things, I feel that person should start using more and more. And if you decide from today onwards, I will not use any floor cleaner. From today onwards, I will, instead of paste, I will use Dantamanjan, or instead of soap, I will start using Uptan or Besan and Doodh. I think somewhere one needs to start with using as many products as possible. And once you start, it gets into you. The change is always slow, but once you change, I think there is no going back again once you start doing it. So even if people say that I've been doing it for last 7 years, because it has become part and parcel of my lifestyle now. Then essential oils, they are available in any medical stores, which are absolutely, if you Google it, you will see they can be as first aids. When you go out for the travel, you can carry such kits where you have a lavender, you have a geranium or rosemary, and a tea tree oil, which is sufficient for your wounds, your cough colds, or your headaches and everything. Essential oils play major important role into they have a best quality. They are basically the plant extract or bark extract or leaf extract of any plant. The only condition here is you must have some sort of a base oil to mix these essential oils, because it's a concentrated form. Nothing happens with that, but it's better to have it with the base oil. It could be coconut oil or any oil which you are using. Just mix it with that and it should be ready to use. So here I stop, but at the end of the session, I would just like to request you people that if we care for the environment, now the climate change is right at the doorstep, and only the environment can make us survive on this earth. And if we need this environment, even for our selfish motive, we have to protect it and restore it. And let us start from our own homes. So thank you all. Thank you very much for patient listening, and I will be happy to answer if there are any questions. Thanks a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for associating with Purnam Ecovision Foundation. And part 2 was really interesting, also as equal to the part 1. So we do have some questions. With your permission, I would like to ask you the questions.
Yes.
First is, through Jeevit Nadi, which rivers have been covered and cleaned through Jeevit Nadi?
We have been working through Jeevit Nadi. No river can be cleaned in such a small time, unless and until there is a 50 lakh population of our Pune city. If 10 lakh people change their lifestyles and 10 lakh people start coming towards the river to take care of the river, then only we will be able to see some change in our rivers. Currently, our focus is on making people aware and bring them to the river. So we are bringing people to the river. There are some changes which are happening, but the changes are always slow. The nature responds, but it is not tangible result like any product. You take a tablet and it is seen something like this. The process is slow, but we are seeing some changes. We are seeing the live springs which are getting alive. We are treating the wetlands from which the good quality water is releasing into the rivers. We are seeing the forest areas because we are monitoring, we are vigilant, and we are protecting the green belts which are along the river. So in certain parts, we are seeing the green covers increasing. But as I said, that it's in pieces and pockets. So that cannot be calculated as such.
Right. Okay. Okay. Second question is, which harmful diseases are spread through polluted waters, and what are its long-term effects?
The list is very long because the type of pollutants are there in the river water. They are so huge. And the most impacted one, see, we are not drinking our water which is getting released, but the water which is getting released is getting affected into the downstream where Ujni Dam, closer to the Ujni Dam, right from the Indapur and that belt. And we are noticing lot of changes. The kids into them is their nails, we are finding arsenic into their nails. Then there are a lot of waterborne diseases which are there into the downstream. If you go to Solapur area, all type of waterborne diseases are there. All type of kidney and liver diseases are there. The cancers are increasing. I mean, the list can be really too long. The whatever I have already given you the list, everything is there happening over there. And unfortunately, these are the communities which are in villages and in pockets where the voices are not heard. So it's very difficult to list out and these are, most of them are incurable diseases.
Okay. Okay. Third question is, what has been the impact on flora and fauna in the past decade? And through people's participation, what can be done to conserve such species which may have been on the threat to get extinct?
Yes, flora and fauna has been really and very largely impacted, particularly on the aquatic life. So because currently the type of fauna which you see along the river are usually the type of birds which thrive on the worms and the insects, something like pond herons or the birds like stilt, which could get into the polluted water. But the type of ducks which ideally should be there, like there are two types of ducks, which are diving ducks and dabbling ducks. So the dabbling ducks requirement is different and the diving ducks requirement is different. Their habitats are different. The water hens usually like the natural belts. The kingfishers like families, their habitats are into the crevasses of the along the river bank. So if we try to retain and maintain these habitats, it could be in the peninsular forms, the grasses, the native grasses which they grow, which are the hiding and roosting places for this fauna. If such places start getting protected by the people, by the community going over there, because lot of changes otherwise keep happening if people, good intended people, do not go to the river. So impact, and you can see the flora about the water hyacinth, which is totally invasive, which has become part and parcel of riverine ecosystem where no native flora is growing, and that's purely due to our pollution. So there is a major impact.
Okay. Okay. And the last question. So today is Gandhi Jayanti, and
Yes.
it's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan had started on this day. So what message would you like to convey to our listeners?
Only one message. If every one of us, we understand and realize my river, my responsibility. I think that is the only thing which I would like to say, that she is our mother. The way we take care of our mother in our own homes, let us start taking care, because in return, the nature around us is going to give us a lot. It's not asking any money, it's not asking anything, but just a protection and restoration. So let's do that. Let's try to understand my river, my responsibility.
Absolutely. And this thing is in our hand. Like some things
Yes.
may not be under our control, but this thing is absolutely under our control. So
Yes.
why not start it from today? And
Correct.
as Shailaja ma'am has requested through her session, that we should manage our waste by ourselves.
Yes.
We should segregate it at source, and then we should try that most of it does not go outside our homes, so that the people
True.
who are working in this in the waste management sector do not have to put their hand in your waste and manage it.
Absolutely true.
Yes, yes. So yes, thanks to all our viewers, and thank you so much, Shailaja ma'am, for associating with
Thank
Purna
you.
Vigo Vision Foundation. This has been our second part. Also, as I mentioned previously, if viewers are interested to watch the first part, it has already been posted on Facebook, so and also on YouTube, so you can watch it on both the platforms. So yes, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Tanvi. Thank you very much. Thanks all the viewers and participants. Thank you.